No, it's going now.
Okay. Hi, this is Jamie, and welcome to Sci-Fi Vision. We are not having a good tech day today.
No, all three of us.
All three of us.
Karen had to switch to something else because she was having audio problems.
Yeah, and I said earlier I lost my monitor. I need to buy a new monitor now, which is, great.
Yeah, I'm here now. On my one laptop, the speakers are muted and they won't unmute. So I couldn't hear you. You might have heard me.
You couldn't hear me. Because I was talking, you weren't responding, and I was afraid it was me.
So he said, bad day for tech. And then me and him are sitting here talking and realized it wasn't even live. So
yeah, I forgot to hit go live after I did the countdown.
You know what? It was a long weekend. We all had a lot going on. It feels like a Monday. I'm sure all of our listeners feel like we've got a case of the Mondays.
On a Tuesday.
Right. Well, yesterday was a holiday for a lot of people. So, like the kids didn't have school. I was. But anyway.
We got a case of the holidays. So anyway, welcome. I'll be buying maybe a new laptop soon. But thank you to my office for providing the one I'm talking on right now.
Well, thank you everybody who is listening or will listen when we're not live, whichever. We appreciate it. We're going to talk about Paradise episode 5, and I don't have the name of the episode in front of me. Do you remember what it was? I was just getting there.
It is called, I might get this wrong, it's called In the Palaces of the Crowned Kings, I think is what it's called, right?
Right, let me see.
In the rooms, I think it's called In the
Palaces of Crowned Kings. Yeah.
Sorry, which was a really interesting title that I was like, what? And then after I watched the show, I'm like, maybe I get it, but I still might be a little what about it. But how did you guys like the episode? How are you guys continuing to like the show? I hope you are.
Yeah. My first thought towards the end of the episode was Karen was right.
Yes, I love when people say that. That was my first thought also. I was right. At the end of the episode. I'm like, I think I was right. It was I who mentioned that last week. Yes, it was I who said, listen, Presley was at the White House. Do you think she saw anything? Do you think she was involved? And I think certain people who might not be around right now were like, no, I don't think so.
I didn't think she was. I felt like that was a night that she wasn't there, but apparently she was.
And we'll talk about it later, but I'm going to come back to my whole Billy being asleep business also.
Well, at any rate, she has the tablet, which is the big thing because they've been looking for it. And now, obviously, we know that Cal did know what was going on, which I still say is why he was killed. But
how'd you like it though?
I liked it. What? I watched further. I like it a lot.
Jamie, what did I tell you?
I tried not to. Hey, I'm a lot. No, I rewatched. I rescanned through it today, so I know what this one's about. Though I did do that. So
oh my god, you make me crazy.
I didn't see it all. I've just seen a little bit further.
Yeah, I mean, Presley having the tablet really opens up a lot because my whole thing this whole time has been they took the tablet. The killer didn't take the tablet.
I mean, the killer might have taken. Well, I mean, the killer might have taken it if the killer was Presley, which I don't think is a thing. Yeah. But I also think it's not.
No, I don't think it either.
We don't know.
The only way I can see Presley being the killer was if the president was so drunk that he was being inappropriate, and she just in reaction knocked. But I don't see that being the story at all. It doesn't make any sense.
I agree. We don't 100% know, but I agree that it's unlikely. That
the question is, why would she take the tablet?
Yeah, because obviously that wasn't. We're assuming that wasn't the reason. If we think it isn't her, then we're assuming that wasn't why he was killed specifically for the tablet.
And we're going to get there as we go through this episode. I'm trying to see, Jamie, what photos we got loaded up here about. I don't really see her. Is that her? No,
there's not. The only one at Presley was the one at the. Yeah, that was better. That's from the week episode before. My thing keeps showing me somebody sending a message when they're not. I don't know. StreamYard's weird. It's like private message has one. No matter what I do, it says somebody's got a message for me.
I think this episode did a really good job of building up to that ending. I think so much happens in this episode that we that bears digging into. Particularly, like, this episode showed us. We haven't really seen a lot about Cal's final days, and we saw a lot of Cal's last few days from Cal's perspective, and it really threw it into a different light. I thought, like, he was already pretty sympathetic, but now I really feel sorry for the dude, right? And I think
it makes you really dislike his father. That's for sure.
Well, his father has to. Yeah, you're right, Jamie. Because I was gonna go ahead, AJ. Go ahead about the father.
Oh no, I just said his dad's a prick. That was my entire statement.
I mean, and there are parts where you feel a little sympathetic because he has dementia and he can't help it. But then you see the flashback and you realize that he's been a total jerk for Cal's entire life, right?
Yeah. Like Cal wanted to be a teacher like his mother, and his dad was over my dead body, basically.
Yeah, and he forced him into running for office.
I mean, this is really every single person in his life that he his father, right? Not only did we see the flashback, but his father's total jerk to him there at the last day. His son is a total jerk to him at the last day. We had previously seen a flash, and we saw how he has a fight with Sinatra on this last day. And we saw the previous flashback, how Xavier's yeah, I can't wait till you're dead on this last day.
Yeah, he's not having a good last day.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sinatra, he's in the fight with Sinatra because
he's I know what you did, right?
Yeah.
What I actually thought was the saddest part out of all of that, though, I thought personally, was at the very end when he decides that he's going to fight back. And he sends his kid that note, it's never too late to fight back. And then this kid never shows up. That's the part I thought was the saddest, because he never comes. But he's trying to do the right thing, and which is what got him killed, really.
Well, we don't know what got him killed.
Well, we're assuming. I mean, you're right. I don't know either. I'm just saying. I'm guessing that's.
I mean, personally, I feel now that the tablet's out of play, for the reason, I think it really opens the door. It could be any number of people for any number of reasons.
I mean, it could be. It's really anybody except Xavier. And there are some other people that I would put on the probably not list, but the only person who's a definite not right now is Xavier, and maybe what's the little boy's name? He probably didn't do it either, right? Because he's a little boy.
Well, can we put Billy on the definitely not list, because you don't kill the killer?
Yeah,
yeah. And
Billy did not kill list.
So the only people who definitely didn't do it are the three people in this photograph.
Yeah, he didn't kill himself. Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if he did? No, I know he didn't, but I'm just saying.
Oh, that'd be funny if he hit his head on the
the
mantle, and
that would be bad, but it'd be funny. I don't think. I mean, again, we don't know, and I don't know either, but I don't think Robinson did it. It seems like she really cared about him, and I think that this episode shows that. And that she's trying to trust Xavier, but Xavier, until the end, doesn't really trust her either, and isn't willing to trust her.
I love that scene between them when she's like, you and me are about as large as my circle goes right now, and he goes, I'm going to stay in my own circle right now.
Yeah, poor Robinson.
I thought that was a good scene, but I'm glad they're on the same page together now.
Yeah, I mean, so in this episode, I'll circle back to the son, but she admits that she was in love with him, right? She says to Xavier, I was in love with him, and they show the scene where the final night that they spent together. I think that he maybe was in love with her also, right?
Yeah, but she's like, get sober, then tell me again, was basically what she said.
I love it when she's
I thought she was saying, leave your wife and then tell me again.
No, she flat out said, call me tomorrow when you're sober.
No, I thought she said, "Call me when it's over."
No, she said
No,
so.
I'm pretty sure she said sober.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought she said when it's because he said I'll leave my as soon as my term is up and my wife and I split, I want to be with you. And I thought she said call me when it's over.
No, she said after he told her that he loved her, she said call me when you're sober.
Yeah, I mean I'd have to read the captions to know for sure, but I'm pretty sure she said when you're sober. But it's funny because it does sound very similar. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, and either one of them could be true, but I'll concede that to you, sure.
I love that scene too because she's like about to leave and he goes, "I'll show you where the guns are," and she's like, "Are you saying that to try and get me to stay?" And he's like, "Yeah."
At least he's honest, right?
So
that's a big revelation too, right? The fact that there are guns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew Billy had one, but that there were guns.
I mean,
available to the people.
I mean, we knew, not available to people. They're
not available to people. They're available that our people can try to get.
They're available to whoever Sinatra gives them.
Because she tells them, I know where the guns are.
They're the opposite of available. It's a secret stash that nobody knows about. Right.
But now she knows where they're at, which was my point. Like, so now they can try to get them.
I mean, I don't know how she found out. She says, I know how we can get them, but we don't really know what that is. Like,
yeah, we do.
We didn't see Cal tell her where they are,
yeah,
right?
We did.
What did
he told her, and he told her and the code.
He told her before she left. That was what he said to try to get her to stay.
He told her where they are, and the 4-digit code is his inauguration.
How did I miss that?
I don't know.
Maybe I had to go to the bathroom or something. I just watched it yesterday afternoon. Because I saw where he's like, you don't think people would come down here with no protection, right? And she's like, what? I thought that was like a kind of a big moment for him because he realizes like, well, wait, she's the head of my like Secret Service detail and she doesn't know about it. Right? She's the head of all security and she doesn't know about it.
It's a red flag right there.
Like that's weird that she doesn't know there are guns.
Yeah.
Down here, I mean, it makes sense. Did you really think that there were no guns down there? Like, come on, right? We had the conversation last week about drugs also, which I want to come back to that later because like an overdose from fentanyl is just insane in this concept. But I kind of missed the part where he says, oh, they're in like closet A, here's the code or whatever. He says, I totally missed that.
Yeah, no, it was whenever he was telling her to stay. And I think right after she said, when you're drunk, when you're
drunk, call me.
When you're sober, call me. It was either right after or right before he said that. Yes, when you're sober.
Yeah, that was all the same conversation.
Yeah.
Before she leaves, we saw the we saw the earrings, which I think I had always assumed that the earrings were a clue that had been left behind, and then we saw they were on her.
I think it's just wrapping around, showing how she took them off.
No, I thought it was a huge change in what I had originally thought when we saw she took them off, and she says she takes them off. She says, "I'm not taking any more of your gifts. You're treating me like a hooker. I feel like a hooker, right?" And like the reason those earrings are on the nightstand is a totally different thing than what I thought 4 episodes ago when I first saw them.
Right.
Yes, that's fair.
So that sends him right to his safe, right? Like when he realizes she doesn't, this is the only picture I have him in his bathroom, which is a great picture, Jamie. It's a little ahead of ourselves, but he goes right to his safe then, right? And he goes to the tablet.
Which he should have done a lot sooner, but yeah.
I mean, it was an awesome scene, and it goes back to, I mean, I guess I'm getting ahead of like the whole flashback and everything with his dad, which it was kind of like amazing this week also, right? Like, did you guys know he was going to be so involved?
No, and that was the one thing I wanted to talk about. We know now that like he was part of it because he told them where to build, I guess, was the idea. He was somehow involved in creating this place because that's why he has access to the tablet in the first place, which I did not know.
And he has a higher clearance. Yeah, well, I hadn't really given it much thought.
No, I hadn't either.
I figured that there would be something though, because you don't cast Gerald McCraney just to play the grumpy old aging father.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be a little more when you get an actor of his caliber. So I knew there's gonna be more with him. I just hadn't really thought about it because it hasn't really been at the forefront. But yeah, I mean, his clearance was actually higher than Cal's because he knew about everything.
Well,
Yeah,
I
which
guess
is the problem. And I have to question why when Sinatra is like doing such a strong job, I guess, up to this point of trying to keep everything quiet and do things the way she wants. She doesn't even let the president know what's going on. But yet the guy with dementia knows. But I guess probably when he was involved in that, he wasn't quite that far gone, I'm guessing.
Probably.
But you would think she would have taken, if she's the one, and again, I don't know, but like if she was the one, you'd think she would have taken care of him by now. Or even if she wasn't, just like the whole thing of how she had Billy killed, we're assuming, and everything else. Like, he's kind of a loose end, let's be honest.
I mean, I don't mean have him killed. Like,
I guess though, probably she might figure no one would believe him because he rambles all the time.
Well,
so.
also, you can't just go around killing people too much down here. You know what I mean?
there's only 25,000 people. There's never been a murder before the president. Everyone's in a freak out. Like, she can't just go. There's only 25,000 people. Like, you can't
Actually,
just go killing people,
I
right?
still think
there's only 24,998 now.
Yes, right. But I mean, she can't just kill people. But I wonder, okay, so he, I guess, is a billionaire or a multimillionaire, and he helped like pay for shit down there. He also, as a guy who drilled for oil, understands seismic blah blah or whatever, right?
And she would have at least
wait, let me finish, Jamie. And a big politician, so that's why he got involved, right? And that's why she has a friendship and a loyalty. What I think, I mean, everyone killing him, but when a person starts to begin to have dementia and his is progressing, would you at least revoke his access to the tablet? Like it was so easy for Cal to go down there and just like put his hand on it. Like, if a person becomes a security risk, you revoke their access, right? Like, what is that about? Like, why? Never mind killing him. Can you just not let him be part of the system anymore because he has dementia?
Maybe Sinatra doesn't realize how bad he's gotten.
I mean, she goes and hangs out there all the time, right?
Yeah.
He named her Sinatra. That's how tight they are. He named her Sinatra.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that she was so worried about it getting out and she didn't do anything about it. You're right. She didn't have to kill him, but she should have at least taken his security clearance.
Yeah. So we agree there, Jamie, that she should have done something when this person became a loose end, a loose cannon, a security risk of some kind, right?
Yeah. But it's the catalyst, obviously, that Cal needed to find out what happened. So
yeah, I mean, the way he treated Cal, like in that moment where he says, like, you've never done anything that I didn't do for you, right? Isn't that what he says? Like, Cal, like, did you ever make me proud? And he says, you've never done anything I didn't do for you. It's kind of true, maybe. Well, we don't know. Like, we saw him force Cal to become a politician. We didn't really see him get Cal elected, right? Like, we don't know how Cal got elected.
No, but I think that that's too why Robinson said that and makes a point, though. Regardless of how he got there, he still is the president, and he's obviously done some things that are good, even if his father doesn't maybe see it and thinks he's controlling everything.
Oh, she does say that to him. Yeah. She's like, you've been president during a really difficult time, and you've done a really good job, and you can still be a great man or whatever, something like that, right? She gives him the talk. I mean, he obviously like got elected. Like, okay, so his father might have put up the money and whatever, but he got elected. I mean, he even says in a previous episode, like, he has a lot of likability. He's likable, right?
Yeah.
And kind of tries to be a good man, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to compare him to somebody in our own real world, I mean, I would say he's comparable to Obama. You know, very personable.
Yeah.
And likable.
And was kind of an experience like Obama was only like a freshman, right? He had not been in elected office only one term or two terms when he ran for president. Also, so yeah, like the idea of a less experienced but congenial and likable person running for office, for sure.
Yeah.
And Robinson really so I started to like Robinson a little better.
Yeah, so do I. She seems this episode humanizes her more, and she seems less stiff. Like she's more human. I guess was the answer to what I said. She's
Well, other than Xavier,
in this episode.
I think this show has done a really great job of changing our opinions about characters, like pretty much every episode.
Yeah,
which I think is really good. As you learn, you get the initial shock of everybody, and a lot of the stuff we feel, we're going off Xavier's feelings and emotions, and then as we get to know some of these characters more, our opinions change about them once they get a little more fleshed out, which I think is a really good thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just going to say, talk about changing how you feel about somebody. I mean, she basically says that she thought Cal was just, at the beginning, was just, Nepo kid, basically.
Yeah.
And that he did everything for him, and like her opinion changed.
Yeah.
That's what that conversation is about. And that's when she starts saying that she misses the guns.
She misses guns. She's like, I miss guns. I miss shooting guns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go from that to Cal. So Cal goes and he gets his dad's handprint, right? And then he checks he goes right into his safe.
You know what? I think we skipped one thing though. I don't, unless I missed it, but we skipped the fact that we do hear him saying that about he calls Billy a sniper. That's why he looks in the tablet in the first place. I think we skipped that.
Oh, the father had been calling Billy sniper for a while, right?
Yes, and he's like, "Why are you calling him that?" And that's why he goes to. It's part of why he goes to investigate.
It's one of he puts 2 or 3 clues together, right?
Yeah, he says that. He also says that he's weak. That's why the snipers had to do it. You thought they were all lost at sea, and that's when his son tells him, which I think is important. After says that you never fought back. You knew it was coming, and you kept it to yourself, and he calls him complicit, and that is also what changes Cal's kind of motivation, I think, as well, because it made him do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a little bit of a thing, right? Because his son, Jeremy is his name, says all these things like, Dad, you didn't fight back, you let it happen, but we don't really know what it was. Like all we're going on is that we knew that there was predicted to be a climate disaster, right? But we don't really know. I mean, in terms of you didn't fight back, what was he supposed to fight back against? We don't really know, but well,
I thought he meant against his father. He was saying that you let him walk all over you. That was how I took it.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he also was saying that he should have told the people when he found out the world was ending, but he didn't outright say that, but he says something like that. You knew what was coming. Therefore you were complicit.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting also. That's easy to say, but we've watched a lot of shows where people announce the world is ending and then everything goes to shit way faster, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a thing that you have to really kind of weigh if you're going to do that. But yeah, that sniper thing was really interesting, how he's been calling Billy sniper. And somewhere in this, so that sends Cal to the tablet. Maybe we just wrap up poor Billy, poor Xavier.
Yeah, he finds him.
Poor Billy and poor Xavier. Xavier has to go. We have that whole thing where they find the body. Jane does a really good job of pretending to be really sad. She did a pretty good job, right? Of appearing to be sad.
Yes.
I would hope so.
She's a good actress. Okay, so the woman, it was good acting pretending to be a good actress.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And she acts like she's all broken up over Billy dying or whatever. I just wanted to circle back to this because they talk about it being a fentanyl overdose and that it's not any amount that anyone could consider recreational. It's definitely a suicide, right? And
Right.
I just, it made me think of what we talked about last week. I remember AJ and Jamie especially, we talked about like, why would you even allow drugs down there? Like if Sinatra was building this perfect environment, like why would you bring fentanyl down there?
Yeah.
And who would believe that there's access to fentanyl, right? Like I just don't get it. Like that seems like a mistake, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, there could be reasons they had it, I guess, but you would think it would be better controlled because there's not a huge place. Because I was looking up, I was curious what it's for. It's for severe pain. So there could be somebody there that, although it seems like the people there are generally healthy, though. I don't know that they right now have anybody that's like, in pain, dying or something that they might need it. But
yeah, I've
it's a controlled substance. They shouldn't have it where they have access to it at any rate.
Right. I mean, if you're picking people to go down there, you might not pick people that needed any. It's funny. My friend just started watching it. She's like, "Do you think they would pick us?" And I was like, "No, we're old. We can't have children. We can't populate."
And anybody who's like at the stage where they would need something like that to begin with, they would not have taken.
I just really thought fentanyl overdose. Is fentanyl widely available in this like new perfect society that we're building? It seemed like a little bit of a crazy thing to me. It's not worth maybe belaboring at length, but did you guys think that fentanyl was a surprise?
Yeah, I would. I don't know what practical uses there are for fentanyl outside of drugs. So
yeah, right. Like it's for pain, but aren't there other painkillers that are maybe not so widely used and lethal that you down there?
Yeah.
I mean, fentanyl is some serious shit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Serious shit is the best definition there is.
I mean, in another show, they might have had him like shoot himself, but since they're not supposed to have weapons, they can't do that. So they had to figure out something to.
I guess, and she couldn't make him just hang himself or be poisoned by any other thing of the million things that can poison you. Like, I don't know. I was like, really? Wouldn't the whole people who live down there be like, holy shit, there's fentanyl around down here?
Well, I don't know that they're going to announce he died from fentanyl. To be fair, that's just what Robinson said. The coroner said.
Well, but that's what they told people, right? Yeah, it's not going to be announced like attention.
They probably just said he.
You mean like it's not going to be like attention, townspeople? Billy died from fentanyl, right?
Right. They're just going to say he overdosed or whatever. They're not going to go into details.
It just seemed to me to be like a cuckoo thing.
Yeah. Fentanyl just seems extreme.
No, it did. It did. And I'm not sure why they used it, but it's neither here nor there.
It just seemed a little crazy thing to have on the show. But anyway, we had to. I was waiting for Xavier to immediately be like, "There's no way. There's no way." He didn't actually.
Well, he did. Not out loud. Not out loud to the masses, but.
Yeah, but he definitely doesn't think that Billy would do that.
Yeah, no, he said something to Robinson though.
Yeah, he even said, he was trying to tell me something, and then this happened.
Yeah, he says like it's too suspicious that he's trying to tell me, and then suddenly the next day he overdoses on fentanyl. Right? It's just not like going to be a thing.
I wonder if we're going to get a Jane flashback now.
Ooh, AJ, I hadn't thought of it, but that would be fun, huh?
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see. Like, I get the feeling that she was like a contract killer. She gives me that vibe. The way she was so cold about it when she's like sitting over his body, and she's like, "You told her to send the biggest bastard she's got. Well, I'm it."
Yeah, I assume she was his backup. The other thing is, and I don't know if we're out of order or not, but Robinson also says to, and I think this is part of why he ends up later listening to her, is he says to him that, the DNA results from Cal's murder, that they were never, what's he say? They were never,
they never made it to the lab.
Yeah, they never made it to the lab. And he's like, well, were they missing? Were they taken? She's like, no, they never made it there. And that's when she, basically says, who else could do that but Sinatra?
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing, though, now. With this whole thing with Presley having the tablet, I feel like the whole it's got to be Sinatra thing, it's not going to be Sinatra. I just feel like the entire suspect pool has changed.
Maybe,
And
but she's definitely not a good person either way.
because they're convinced it's going to be Sinatra. I feel like it's not going to be Sinatra now.
Maybe that's totally
I
possible.
mean, it still could be Sinatra, but this is TV. The person most likely is least likely.
Well, I mean, we know that she is responsible for the murder of the scientists who went up top.
Right.
We know that she ordered the murder of Billy. Right, but that doesn't mean that she's behind the murder of Cal. You're right.
Right.
And
she still very well could be. I'm just saying. I feel like it's more nuanced now.
Well, because like most TV shows would not give it away this early.
They could though, because I mean, honestly, I don't feel that the murder mystery is the central story. So
really, that's interesting. I was talking to someone today, and I said, I kind of like that. You know, the sci-fi is not the central story; it's the murder that's the central story.
See, I don't think it's the central story. I think everything around it is, you know, like, you know, what exactly happened with the, you know, why are they down here? You know, everything, you know, I mean, the murder is the driving force, but I don't even think that is ultimately.
There's so much more going on that it's just kind of like what started the ball rolling with whatever this conspiracy thing is, I guess.
It's like every time we turn around, we find out there's something bigger and more interesting going on. Like finding out about the four scientists and going up and finding out that the planet is breathable. You know, I feel like that's huge.
So that circles us back to the tablet, to the situation with Cal and his father on the tablet, right, Jamie? That's where you're going? Sorry.
Right, that's where I was going. So he sees the video of the scientists saying, you know, that the air is bad, but it's probably not have been.
Oh, and there's
a not livable. I can't. Jeez. I'll eventually say a word that makes sense. But they find somebody alive is the point, and they want to bring this person back, and that's where Sinatra's like, no, you can't bring somebody back. Which, you know, I kind of understand a little bit of her point of view. Of course, she's still, you know, making the wrong choices and doing the wrong things morally. But she's not wrong to say if they bring somebody back, or that if people on the outside know they have this bunker, that things could happen. I mean, you think of like when we watch The Walking Dead and all that, they would try to take it. Silo, yeah. I mean, they're safe in their little world, and I'm not sure that opening it up to people is the right move. Is letting one person in going to do that? Maybe not.
Here's the thing.
She didn't have to kill them, but
it's all, and this is the ironic thing. I mean, bottom line, it's all about power for Sinatra. But in the grand scheme of things, that could have been, you can bring that person back, and they're a small enough community that it can be handled in a way where everybody's not rushing to get back outside. You know, you inform the people and you address it in a way of, hey, listen, we have some information. You know, we found out that up top it's breathable. However, it's massively devastated. You really can't survive right now.
And if you leave, you can't come back.
So,
you have to go search for somebody.
And we did find a survivor, but that doesn't mean that we can all go back up there and live. We need time we need to send the scientists up there. We need to investigate. We need to check things out, figure out how to, you know, fix everything, and then we can, you know. But Sinatra is not going to do that because that's not what Sinatra wants. Sinatra, you know, so the only reason she did what she did, she wants the power. She likes the power. She doesn't want anybody to know. It's not about the people at all.
I don't think it's about the people, but she's not wrong that people would try. If people knew that we had this asylum, that they would try to get in. But my other question is, with 25,000 people, like overall, that's not a huge number because that's, you know, the only people that maybe were saved or whatever. But do you really, if you live in a town of 25,000 people, know every person, that if they brought one person in, somebody's like, people are even going to notice that they weren't there before?
Probably not.
They're not. And like whether they let that person in or not, she didn't need to kill the people that they sent out. And I said last week she had him killed, but I said last week I still think at a certain point, and I'm surprised they haven't done it yet, but that at a certain point the scientists are going to want to investigate and study the land and everything else.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I mean, I would say that it's not, a town of 25,000 people is kind of big. It's a town of 25,000 people that you can never leave or never talk to anybody that lives anyplace else. So you might, I don't know 25,000 people, but I might know a little bit more in an isolated community. I still wouldn't know that like Joe Blow died of a fentanyl overdose, right? Or whatever.
They could even say like he lived with the president or something. Like maybe he worked for the president and that's why they never seen this person. He, she, I don't know.
I would say, I'd like you guys refresh my memory. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that Sinatra didn't say, I don't remember Sinatra saying, listen, we can't let anybody come down here. We don't have enough resources. What she said was, if they know somebody is alive, they're all going to want to go outside and we can't allow that. And Cal says, that's not your choice.
Didn't she say something about people would want in? Maybe I thought she said that.
I don't remember that. I'm not saying she didn't say it. I personally only remember her saying they're going to want to go out. Which
I remember that.
Maybe she did, but it's kind of a given that if people out there, if there's people left alive that know there's a safe place, they're also going to want to get in, whether she said that or not. Like they're going to try to beat down the doors. Although if they have security, they can't get in. So I don't know that it really matters, but I'm just saying like they would try to get.
It could matter. We don't know how many people are alive.
Try to make a bomb out of something. Who knows? They could.
What if there's 30,000 people outside?
That's true.
I mean, Jamie, you're right. Just that, of course, we're going to want to come in if they know there's a safe haven. And just because she didn't say it doesn't make it. You're right. I think what motivates Sinatra, though, based on our discussion last week about why she created the space, is about keeping people in and creating this perfect thing and controlling it. To me, she's more concerned about keeping people in than she is about keeping people out, based on what I've seen so far. Right?
Which I don't know that it. Like, I get the idea that if they think people are alive, they might try to rush out and that could become very bad. But like if one person, like if, Xavier wanted to go out and look for his wife or something, like in the long run, is it really going to hurt the overall place if somebody leaves? I mean, you could even be like, there's possibility people are alive. If you want to go out and look, you can, but you can't come back. Like it's a one-way thing. And would it really hurt? I don't know. I just know that it would probably cause mass panic either way, but
that's why I said what I said about there's a way to address it without causing mass hysteria.
Yeah.
It depends what you think is her motivation and what she's trying to achieve. And
well, that's
right?
Why she's not going to do that, because she wants the power.
Well, not just the power, but we talked last week. I mean, yes, the power for sure, you guys, but I expressed last week that I believe that she's really devoted to creating this vision that her son had for heaven, and that she's also driven to protect her daughter, to allow her daughter to live in that perfect kind of environment. And that, so control, yes, but not for the sake of being control freak. Control for the sake of what, her grief and her obsession.
Yeah,
is what I'm thinking right now. It might not be what it turns out to be
next week, but
that's how I feel right now.
Right. So Cal, after he finds all this out, he starts transcribing it by hand. And that's where you had the picture of him in the bathrobe. He goes to the library and says he's making a mixtape for his son, but he's really, it looks like going to show. They don't actually show. I think he puts it in the CD case, but it didn't actually show what he did. But he wrote it down and then ripped it out of the journal or whatever and out of the notebook.
He left his diary in the shelf, right? Like that diary that he was writing.
Yeah.
Okay, he left the whole diary. I thought he was putting the paper inside the CD case. I wasn't sure because it didn't show exactly what he did.
He also made a CD he made a mix CD for his son also, right?
Yeah.
which I think maybe is going to have a lot of clues and could maybe be a fun. So I do feel like all the 80s music on this show is kind of the worst of the 80s mostly. But that could be a fun, like, scavenger hunty kind of thing if the mixtape is a thing, or maybe the mixtape was just a excuse to be able to get into the library and leave the diary there, right?
Play
Yeah,
it
because I'm
backwards.
not sure how he would on the CD record stuff for his son. Like they would have heard him talking. I thought that's why I said I thought he put the paper inside it. I wasn't sure and was a little confused by that. But
AJ, did you just say play it backwards?
Yes.
oh god. Yeah. I don't think he has that sophisticated equipment to be recording shit backwards in the library and sticking it on, but that would be good.
So I saw an interesting comment on Reddit today, or yesterday. Cal has left his diary in the stacks of the library.
Right.
And he wrote a number on the cigarette that Xavier found.
Yeah, I think it's the.
And could it be the Dewey? Could it be?
Number.
Yeah. Could it be the Dewey Decimal number to find where he left the diary?
That's kind of what I figured, that it had something to do
with. I mean, originally I thought it was
a
tail number on a plane, but
yes, I thought that also. Except it lacked letters, and tail numbers have letters often, right?
So where did he intend to put the cigarette, or was he just keeping it on himself in case he was killed?
Oh, I think he left it for Xavier.
Right, so he just kind of had it on his person, so if he was murdered, it would be there.
Well, he left it at the bedside, right? He wrote. Yeah. We saw him write it. We saw him in the flashback.
Right. But I thought when Xavier found it, I was thinking he just found it on the body. I couldn't remember where he actually found it.
It was on the bedside, and it had an X written on the pack of cigarettes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. You're right.
When your initial is X, I guess you notice stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
It had a big X on it, and so he knew that the president had left it for him.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the X being his name. That's true.
Yeah.
So the whole plane number was probably a red herring. Although I still think that there's a good possibility that by the end of the season, he's going to end up in one of those planes going after his wife.
Somehow. Oh, I think we all, the whole pilot thing from 2 weeks ago, definitely, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a plain tail number, only because it was too many number. I'm not a pilot, but don't they have letters, right?
Yeah, I don't know that cigarette had anything to do with the plane. I'm just saying I still think he's going to get on the plane.
Yes. No, I totally thought it was a tail number in the first few episodes. I absolutely did. And then I Googled plane numbers, and I think they all have a letter that corresponds to what country the plane is from, but I'm not really sure because I'm not a pilot. But I totally thought that in the beginning. Now I don't think it, but absolutely we're going to see. We didn't see a whole thing about Xavier wanting to be a pilot, but for his vision, only for him to not fly a plane, right? Like those planes sitting around in that weird hangar area, those are all like Chekhov's gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see a plane, it will be flown before the end of the season.
Yeah.
And not in a shitty storyline like Walking Dead, I hope.
We can only hope.
So 2 other big things happened. What a terrible eulogy. I went to a funeral yesterday. I went to a funeral yesterday and 2 people gave a eulogy. And then I came home and watched this and I was like, oh yeah, that was terrible. I just came from a funeral. That was a terrible eulogy. He really sort of went off on a tangent in a way that was not flattering. It's like, yeah, did you see my dad walking around in his bathrobe? He really was falling apart. Like, oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole point, I think, of this scene, though, was for it to serve as a flashback, regardless of what he actually said. We got some things from him because of that.
I agree with you. I think there could be a secondary little function here, but I think Jeremy is coming around a little bit. Well, he's definitely feeling bad about how he treated his dad, right?
Yeah.
And will he I don't know if he'll come around to this mystery. I'm interested in how he figures in. He's no longer, I think, was he ever just a love interest for Presley? And given that we saw Presley has the tablet, what does her sudden interest in the president's son mean?
Yeah.
She only pursued him after Cal was dead, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think it had.
Cal was dead at the beginning of the show, so yeah.
Well, yeah, Cal was dead in the first 5 minutes of the show. So yeah, AJ, you're correct.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think that's why she was pursuing him. She seems to like him. Maybe she's going to give him the tablet.
She can like him and still have another motive. Two things can be true, right?
True. I just wanted to also talk though about his conversation with his grandfather.
Oh yeah, I don't have a picture of that, so we'll just go to this.
Yeah.
Wow, that was something, huh?
Yeah, the idea that they both sort of got to say what they never got to say, but to the wrong person, like that was it was interesting. I liked that scene. And it's like he sort of got to say goodbye to his dad a little bit.
Well, and it was,
or he used it for that, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, and he's been frustrated with his grandfather, and there was that part where I don't know the grandfather's name, where Gerald McRaney scares Presley, and she runs off, and
he says something about seeing her there that night, but we know that that's true.
But what I mean, what I was getting at here is that Jeremy's mad at him, and he yells at him, and if anybody, either you, AJ and Jamie, or anybody who's listening has ever lived with a person or had a loved one who begins to have dementia, or it can be very frustrating. It'd be very difficult to not lose your temper or not lose your composure with a person, right? Like who is, I don't know. Like, I know, Jamie, you lived with your grandmother. I know she was very sharp until the end, really, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you didn't have that. My dad is 93. He's really pretty sharp, but every now and then I'm like, Dad, turn on your freaking hearing aid, right? Or I'm like, Dad, how can you be an engineer and you can't work a phone? And I get very frustrated, right? And I can imagine how tough it must be to be with a person like this who really doesn't recognize you, right? And it's sad and it's terrible. And I had some sympathy for Jeremy losing his temper. Particularly, he's a teenager, and they're not really known for their being.
Yeah, and he's suddenly stuck there with him because his father's gone. It wasn't like he chose the.
Yeah, he's grieving. He's feeling guilty, and he's also 16. And 16-year-olds are assholes, right?
Yeah.
Not yours, AJ, but everybody else's.
He can be.
But like I said, the point is that he started talking about Presley being there that night, and
yes,
we just assumed he was like confusing things until we found out she had the tablet. So now you
I took it a little bit differently.
Okay.
When he started yelling, I think he was regressing at that point. Like, I think he thought Presley was somebody else from the past, so that was just a coincidence. It wasn't until later when he was sitting there, and all of a sudden he's like, "I saw her. That's when we realized, oh shit, he was blending. He was kind of mixing two things together.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could see that he was maybe ranting a little more when he was earlier talking to Jeremy, and it's only later when he has a lucid moment that he's like, I saw her. We talked about this last week. We mentioned it earlier in the show tonight that Presley had been the inappropriateness of Uncle Billy inviting Presley over to play Wii at the president's house.
Yeah.
And like,
she meant it in any inappropriate way. It just wasn't appropriate because he wasn't supposed to do that.
It's inappropriate. It's inappropriate for anyone to be invited to play.
Yes, but I mean, it wasn't inappropriate in like a sexual way or something. I just meant it wasn't.
Inappropriate can mean a lot of things.
Yes. No, I'm just clarifying.
It was totally inappropriate for her to be there. Yes. It actually, yeah. and we talked about this. Was she there that night? Yes, no. Now we know for a fact, probably for a fact. I think, AJ, I agree with you that Papa Bradford was lucid in that moment when he remembered seeing Presley. And then we see that she has the thing. So she was definitely there, right?
But I have to wonder why she didn't give it to her father, though.
Well, that's a funny story because that's classic TV. Instead of telling people things, we change our mind at the last second. When Xavier gets home, she's going to tell him, and then he's like,
Yes.
Let me talk first. I've got to tell you." And then he tells her about Billy, and she decides to keep quiet.
Oh yeah, AJ. She does say, like, "I have to tell you something," or something like that, right?
Yeah.
She does seem to. I forget exactly.
Yeah, we never find out. It's funny because that scene ends. He's like, "Listen, this is really important. Just pack your stuff, get stuff for your brother, be ready to go." Tells her about Billy, and the scene ends, and I'm like, what was she going to tell him? I thought that she was going to tell him what happened with Cal's dad. I thought she was going to be like, "Hey, Mr. Bradford was like really crazy," and that's what I thought she was going to tell him. And then we see her go upstairs, lift her mattress, and pull out the tablet.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not so she was there that night. So one scenario is like, at the crime scene, Xavier and Billy were doing their initial investigation, and they said the killer jumped out the window and ran away. Like, is it possible that Presley found his dead body, grabbed the tablet, and jumped out the window and ran away? Is it possible she killed him? Is it possible Billy said to her, "Hey, take this and run"? Right? Well, maybe not Billy. Maybe somebody, like, I don't know. I'm just playing scenarios. Do you think Presley killed him? Do you think Presley stole it? Do you think somebody told Presley to hide it? Those are all things that could be possible, right?
I don't think she killed him, but I guess it's always a possibility. I like I said before, I think it's possible that the way he died could have nothing to do with anything. But I also kind of hope that it does have something to do with the whole conspiracy, because otherwise it kind of seems like a waste a little bit. It depends how they play it, though.
What do you think, AJ?
I don't think Presley's the one that jumped out the window. I think she walked right out the front door. I think that's when Grandpa Bradford saw her. I think when she was leaving.
Because he lives in the guest house, so he would have seen her on the grounds, right?
Yeah.
Well, he could have been in the house too, because we know he likes to wander. He could have been in the house also, and doesn't even remember.
Yeah, he does like to wander, and it was.
For all we know, he killed him.
Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. But
he could have, and it could have totally, and he might not even know he did it.
Ooh, did you just think of that right now, or have you been working on that?
No, I just thought of it now as we're talking. Lots of things come to me.
Maybe we killed him accidentally, maybe even. But...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the way he was killed, it could have absolutely been accidental.
I mean, he was hit in the head, I think, with a rock,
a blunt object.
We don't know what it was. I don't know.
I mean, the fact that the murder, they didn't find the murder weapon, leads me to believe that it was probably a little more nefarious, or the person that did it panicked and took it with them.
Yeah.
So it's, a lot. Like I said, now that it turns out that Presley has the tablet, lots of things have opened up. It's not as.
I was going to say, I wonder if somebody could have whacked him in the head with the tablet, but I don't think they'd call that a blunt.
No. For one, the tablet would have been smashed.
That too, yeah.
I don't own a tablet, but I know you do, Jamie. Do you think you could kill someone with that? Probably not.
I think it would depend the kind of case you had on it and how.
I don't think
that's a smaller tablet.
I mean, I don't think you could kill somebody with it. Definitely make them say "ow."
It's clearly a ruggedized tablet.
Yeah, it's a very rugged tablet.
A couple of questions I have. I'm Sinatra, right?
I'm sorry.
Let's say I'm Sinatra, right? And I send a bunch of scientists up top against my better judgment. Now they find a survivor. They all got to go. They all got killed, right? So I send Billy up there to kill them all. Why would she record it and put it on a laptop that probably multiple people besides Sinatra and Papa Brad have access to? Like, we don't know how many people have tablets. Probably more than 2 or 3 people, right?
I mean, unless it's maybe because she doesn't, it's like to show why she did it and that she didn't do it like for a nefarious purpose, like to keep record of what happened, because she doesn't think it's wrong. I'm not saying that it isn't. I'm saying like, okay, it's still a record of what happened, because they might agree with her, these other scientists.
All right. I was going to disagree with you that she didn't do anything wrong and she didn't have a nefarious purpose.
No, I think she doesn't think she did anything wrong.
I like your qualifier. She doesn't think she did anything wrong. Yes.
Everybody's the hero of their own story.
I don't see any benefit from keeping that, really.
No, I agree. And I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, I guess initially to make sure that Billy did what he sent him out to do.
Maybe it was blackmail material.
But why keep it? Why not erase it?
Yeah, but maybe it was so like if Billy, instead of killing Billy, like if he just sort of caused problems, maybe she could have been like, look, I have proof that you. But that would be, condemning for her.
No, because then he just says, well, he says, you show that I killed these people. Who do they think sent me?
Yeah, I know.
How did I get up there?
I mean, you can, there's voice in that video, is voice over her being like, kill them or don't come back. If you don't kill them,
so it wouldn't work.
She says either kill them or you can't come back. Like, he has no choice, really, right?
True.
Yeah.
Well, he had a choice.
It actually sort of, it doesn't exonerate Billy, but it gives Billy a reason for doing it. Like, kill them or face certain.
If he didn't, yeah.
Kill them or face certain death yourself, right? It looks not good for him, but it looks worse for her.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think, though, that like she wanted proof of death? Because I kind of wonder why he couldn't have been like, look, run, don't ever come back. Because if she's not going to let him in, like, she had to have had some proof that he
she wanted proof of death, but why keep it?
Why keep it? And why keep it on a shared, like, it's on a shared system? Like if Cal has it on his tablet, it was uploaded from, like, she's keeping it on a shared system.
Yeah.
It just seems like really, like, there's no reason to keep it. And if you were going to keep it, why would you share it with a guy who has dementia? They've been underground 3 years.
Recorded it, and she doesn't know it was recorded. But I would think that out of everybody, she knows it's there. Yeah,
she has to know.
She absolutely knows.
And there's no way that she doesn't have the same access that's on that tablet, right?
She's got more access than anybody. If there's another level up,
it just doesn't really make sense to me, and I'm not sure if it's.
Yeah, no, I agree. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah,
is it a story problem, or is it going to pay off down the road? Like, why? I mean, there's always an explanation that her own hubris allows her to keep it, right? Like, you can always in any show like this, the villain's hubris is a weakness, but it's another thing that she
like a story problem. Like, they just shouldn't. It didn't make tons of sense.
I feel like that and the fentanyl, like, they're being sloppy with Billy, or
the fentanyl,
or she's sloppy with Billy.
Yeah, pure fentanyl like that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense that when you were planning your perfect world downstairs, you'd be like, oh, listen, AJ, make sure you get the fentanyl before we go down there, right?
What kind of party you look at?
I mean, there's always a possibility, that somebody could be sick and at their deathbed and in a lot of pain, and they could need strong pain medicines. But I wouldn't think
that's what morphine's for.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, but I wouldn't think you'd choose fentanyl. But again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. Maybe there's other uses.
It was her mass suicide pact idea in case things didn't work out the way she wanted to.
Probably right. It was probably the backup.
She brought 25,000 pills, one for everybody.
It's also a thing that if you have limited painkillers, like if you're going to use some to murder someone, I don't know.
I mean, not for nothing. You got room for a carnival. Why not bring fentanyl? It's small.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
we don't know. Who knows what other kind of drugs they brought with them?
Yeah,
I mean, there might be a cabinet of heroin.
Yeah, maybe there's coke back there. I was going to say they have coke back there. Yeah, I don't know.
So I got another thing I want to talk about. Not that, although that was cool, right? The funeral was cool. Although if I was president of the United States, I'd hope they'd have my funeral in a larger room than this. Honestly,
That might
you
be
guys,
the
when
largest.
I mean, I
That
hope
might be
that
the only church they have to have it in, though.
I hope that me being a normal person off the street would have more people than that at my funeral, because that's like 24 people.
You know what? It might be limited to.
Yeah, they might not let them in. It might be like only.
Maybe.
There might be but who,
Maybe.
I mean, there might be a jumbotron outside for everybody else. That's not like immediate and important.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about. Do you remember this guy's name?
No,
Neighbor.
but I like to keep dogging.
Nate? Is it Nate?
No, I said neighbor.
Neighbor guy. I'm gonna look him up right now so I can be sure what his name is. Neighbor guy and his dog. It hadn't occurred to me that there's a ban on pets,
Carl.
but of course,
Yeah, like they let you have a carnival, but you can't bring a small pet. I mean, couldn't it be like an apartment, like you're allowed pets under a certain size? I thought that was like, I don't know. I didn't understand.
I think I understand why. No,
I understand it, but that's kind of.
It's Carl, by the way.
It's
Carl. So mean though. Like, I mean, I'm sure tons of these people had pets when they left. Like they're their family members. I don't know
I
why.
want to know how he
stop
snuck the dog down.
Yeah, how do you sneak a dog down there?
Yeah, that's the other question.
I mean, I understand not bringing pets. Look, pets have to be fed. They create waste. They procreate despite your best efforts if you let them go. Like, and I understand, like when you are evacuating people and you can only fit 25,000 people, like if they were going to bring 10,000 pounds of dog food down there to accommodate pets, then they couldn't bring the fentanyl, right? They needed the fentanyl.
No, but they could have probably bought. But I'm just saying that, like, in a world that they're trying to make it like a true livable town, like there are animals. But yeah, I mean, like I understand it, but at the same time, like,
I mean,
they
kind of cool if they made everybody get rid of their pets, their family members too.
They are, but a pet, like pets in general, are a drain and not a contribution. It's not like a cow that you will eventually get milk from or eat, or a chicken that will produce eggs or you will eat. Like these are purely. I get it. Look, your pet is your family, but you can stay up above and die if you don't want to leave your dog. Like we've seen this before in many. We saw it in Katrina when they wouldn't evacuate pets, and it was disgraceful and horrible and painful. But I could see why pets would be banned in a place like Paradise. It's a little bit different. You're living underground after a climate hollow. I get it. You can't allow everybody to have a pet, right? And if you let one, who gets a pet and who doesn't? We have room for 3,000 dogs.
Well, maybe they had to have it approved ahead of time. I don't know. But I question, though, you're right. I think the biggest question is how the hell did he get it down there and no one noticed?
Yeah, and maybe that's how the fentanyl got down there also. If you can get a dog down, you can certainly get a 5-pound bag of fentanyl down there, right? What else is down there?
Yeah.
So we see that Carl is very careless with his pet. He has told Xavier's son, whose name is Xavier Jr. I forget his name.
I don't remember.
James.
He's always going over to play with
His
the
name
dog.
is, you don't remember his name? His name is James. His wife named him after James and the Giant
Oh,
Peach.
James the Giant Peach.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Okay,
James
James.
the Giant Peach. This guy's careless. But he owes Xavier big time. And it pays off in a way that Hulu did not provide a picture of, I'm sure, right? That's the golf course. Wrong picture. But Carl, so I actually really like this part of the end of the episode where Xavier comes home and he's like, Presley, pack a bag. She was going to tell him about the tablet. She doesn't, but we don't really know. We don't know what Xavier's plan is. He's just like, kids, pack a bag. We're moving out, right? We got to go. Mm-hmm. Carl, I need your help. And then there's like the climax at the end.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. Was he supposed to be just looking up like everybody, or was he supposed to be like standing on her lawn or whatever, looking at her? I mean, he was supposed.
Oh, he was staring at the camera.
He was staring at the camera, but was he supposed I guess my point is, it wasn't to me 100% clear if Sinatra was supposed to think he was looking right at her, like on purpose, or it was just he was looking. You know what I mean? And like, him like everybody else.
Did you recall, Jamie, that right before that scene, when we had the scene with Carl and the dog, Xavier says, "Listen, they were fixing the light pole outside the house yesterday."
Camera, yeah.
There's a camera. So yeah, I think he was staring in the camera. I think there were two things going on. AJ, what do you think was going on there?
He was absolutely staring at the camera. He doesn't know that Sinatra's on the other side of it, but he was absolutely intentionally staring right at the light post because he knows there's a camera in it. And the best part about it is you could argue that he was looking up at the sky with they're lying to you, but he was out there waiting for it. He was already there staring at the camera before Carl flashed the sky.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was kind of like an "I'm coming for you" thing, or it was just the way they did it to be dramatic. But it could also be an alibi too. I mean, he's not there. He proved he wasn't. He was on camera.
I was going to say that, Jamie, actually, right before you said it, that, I mean, I think there's a bunch of things going on. I do think it's an act of defiance, like staring. He knows. So maybe
it's a total act of defiance.
He knows that maybe Sinatra's not watching right now, but he knows that Sinatra will eventually see the video of what he did, right? But AJ's right. It could just look like you're looking at the sky. And Jamie, I thought the same thing when I watched it. Like, that's his alibi. Like, she can't say that he was in the computer center making that message because he was standing on the street at that moment.
Yeah. No, him staring at the camera, it's a challenge. That's him saying, I know you're watching me, and I'm watching you.
Yes, I rather agree.
Now you got me think of that song. I don't know if it's 90s or not, but I'm thinking like maybe or 80s. I'm thinking maybe they'll remake that. Somebody's watching you.
Oh,
you do a remake of that, you know?
No. Instead, we got a really slow version of "Eye of the Tiger."
Oh, it was terrible. I thought that was a terrible "Eye of the Tiger."
Every fucking cover has been terrible. I you know what though? I gotta say, I'm glad we got a cover of "Eye of the Tiger," and not what I thought we were gonna get, which was "Here I Go Again" by Whitesnake. I thought because that was earlier in the episode. Yeah. Cal's listening to that, and I thought, oh god, this is gonna be the song that they play at the end. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to hear a slow version of "Here I Go Again." I'm like, this is gonna suck so bad. And then they.
That it was
playing "Eye of the Tiger" because of the conversation he has with
his son.
Yeah, I was blanking on his son's name. Jeremy. About watching Rocky 3.
Yeah. Well, and you guys know that I really like to read. I read a lot on Vulture, and a writer named Maggie Fremont does their recaps, and she mentioned this week, like, she doesn't mention "Eye of the Tiger," but she mentions Rocky 3. And together, they are the story, as she says, of a fighter who's at his lowest point, who finally gets his shit together. And, Cal, she says it's really on the nose for Cal's arc.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except that Rocky doesn't die and he dies, right? But this is about Cal. Like, Cal wants to watch Rocky. We hear the song, and Cal's a guy who gets rejected like 4 or 5 times. And those rejections spur him to stand up. His father's not proud of him. His son's not proud of him. His lover's not proud of him. And he stands up.
Guys. And
he gets killed. Yeah.
That reminded me, though, I did want to mention one thing we skipped, too, is he does go to see, what's her face? The doctor. I can't remember.
Gabriella?
Yeah.
Gabriella? Yeah.
And he did actually say that about Billy, that he was dangerous.
You mean Cal went to Gabriella?
Yes. And he did the whole hand thing, which I'm guessing that's where she got it from when she used it on Xavier.
Oh yeah, he had written on he wrote on his hand Billy Pace, right?
Yeah, saying that he was dangerous. If something happened to him, talk to Xavier about him. So yeah, that part he did actually say to her. Now, is it not? It is still possible that she related to Xavier to get him to dig, but it seems less likely now since he did actually say it.
Yeah. So did you guys see the promo for next week?
No, I never watched promos.
All right, so I know AJ watched Jamie watched the whole episode, so you just be quiet right now. So I watch it on Hulu, and there is there's a next episode on the next Paradise or whatever. And there is a scene. I don't know if AJ, you don't want to hear about it.
Okay.
There's a scene with Xavier, and he seems to be wearing maybe some kind of tactical vest, some kind of maybe or maybe not a bulletproof vest, and he says something like he appears to have some people who are with him. I don't know who those people would be. I'm not really sure how Xavier would rally.
Could be a flashback.
Oh my God, yes, it could be a flashback, right? To when he was doing whatever he did in law enforcement before he became part of Cal's Secret Service team. You're absolutely right. That makes a lot more sense. I was like, how's he going to have this future? You're right. I bet it's a flashback. Is this an 8-episode season, Jamie, I think?
Yes. And I've only got 7, so I have not seen the end. I've seen further, but I have not seen the end.
Good.
Well, good. Hey, to be
3
fair,
left.
I'm watching with family too. So if they want to watch it, I'm not gonna not be there seeing it too.
I would shut my family down.
No.
Me too.
I'll tell them you said that.
I texted you guys today that I feel like, did I text both of you? I feel like this show is moving so fast. I think it could really be done in 8 episodes.
I like the fast pace.
It could.
I don't know what they're
I
planning.
think they've said that they plan that they'll do another season if it does good. I think.
Well,
I think Dan Fogel had said that. I think before.
And the one giveaway of this episode, we don't have a picture of it. And Jamie, maybe there wasn't one on the press dump, but that picture of the Washington Monument completely swallowed up by the ocean with a huge pile of trash floating around next to it. Right? Did you guys catch that?
No, there definitely was not a picture of that, but yeah.
Oh, but okay, no picture, but you saw it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't notice there was trash though. I missed the part there was trash.
Yeah, wasn't there like a patch of like trash and bottles and crap floating next to it?
There was all kinds of crap floating around.
Yeah, there was like a big. Do you ever see a picture of that big trash patch out in the Pacific? It looked like that. The Washington Monument in DC is like really tall. I'm Googling it right now to tell you guys how tall it is. It's 554 feet tall. So that's like 50 stories, right? Maybe.
And it got swallowed out by
and
the
it's
water.
And it's like, it's swallowed up, only that little pointy top is poking out.
Yeah.
With those 2 lights.
Oh, you mean that thing is that whenever he's given the voiceover? Kane, is that what you mean, or was this a different part?
Yeah, they showed it during. I think when Joe McGraney was reading a poem. Remember, he was talking about how his wife always read a poem, and he's talking about
he reads Byron a lot.
Yeah, and he's reading. It might be a Byron poem that's very sort of end of the worldy sounding, right? It's Lord Byron's "Darkness" is the name of the poem. And you see the shot of the Washington Monument, which speaks to like incredible rise of the oceans, right? Like that would require...
Well, let's put it this way. Not only is the Washington Monument 554 feet tall, the base of the monument is 30 feet above sea level.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking the waters rose almost 600 feet.
Yeah. And like, what kind of climate disaster does that require, right?
So if DC is underwater, I mean, the air might be breathable, but
but what has
everybody? If you want to go outside, everybody's living in the mountaintops.
So according to the internet, which we can't trust, between 1901,
true.
I mean, sea level rise is like measured in centimeters or even millimeters per year right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for it to suddenly be 600 feet would have to be like rapid disintegration of all sea ice or something. And the fact that the air was presumed not breathable always made me think of like, always the last 5 episodes, made me think of like a nuclear situation, but maybe I also thought of like a sunspot kind of situation, maybe. I don't know. But it's some serious shit.
Mm.
And yet livable, right? Like if we're talking about ocean rising, if you lived in like Denver, you'd be fine, right? I'm a mile above sea level.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that's going. So I guess circling back, I'm talking about like, could this go a second season? I could see the president's murder being solved in the next 3 episodes. I don't know if I see them getting into the whole revelation of what happened and who's alive. And
Well,
does
if there's a
find
second
wife?
season, I feel like if there's a second season, it moves away from the conspiracy stuff and maybe starts focusing on, okay, how do we go about moving on from Paradise? And is it possible? That type of scenario.
Yeah.
Because I
So-
mean, if their basis is find the killer and maybe a second season, I don't see how this season doesn't end with Sinatra getting hers, regardless of whether or not she's the killer of the president.
But she's maybe not the killer of the president, but she's not a force for good in this community
No. Exactly.
any longer.
Well, she didn't actually kill anybody. She made Billy kill people.
Or
Yeah, but
anybody
she's
else,
she's
or
still the mastermind.
She's still mad,
Conspiracy.
yeah.
There's this little thing in the court system called conspiracy to commit murder.
She's still responsible for their deaths.
Yes.
Also.
well, and she's responsible. So the episode ends with Carl goes down into his little.
What goes up?
Apparently Carl's in charge of the dome, and he manages to put a message on the dome that says they are lying to you, right?
Yep.
Which is incredible and amazing. And then he manages. Remember, he stands up and he sneaks out. Like all of his companions are like, "Look at that!" And he's like, "Whoop,
Well, how
right
that
up.
happened?
You know what that reminded me of that moment? The Truman Show.
Mhm. It did, yeah, because it's on the dome roof kind of thing, and
Yeah.
it's got that message up there. Yeah.
I'm
Oh
just
no, they're
worried
under the
they'll kill
dome.
him or take his dog or something to get him to do what they want.
So it says they are lying to you, and I'm not sure if it was in the end of the episode or in the promo for next week. It says like, "Do you want to know the truth?" or something like that. I mean, I think
It's gotta be the promo.
so. That was a brilliant idea, right? That was, I
Yeah.
guess, Xavier's idea. It was brilliant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Putting it out in the open.
Yeah, and getting like potentially the entire community, like maybe not on your side right now, but asking questions and creating turmoil and creating like a distraction for her to have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty it was a great idea. I want to also ask you guys, the scientists, sorry, I'm changing the subject. The scientists who went up to the surface, when Billy found them, they had a woman with them. The survivor is a woman.
Right.
What do you think the chances are that woman is Xavier's wife?
Well, Billy killed whoever it was.
Woman
right?
none.
No, Billy killed the scientist. Billy killed that the woman second from the right, that woman with the black
Right,
hair.
but I was under the impression from the way it was on the tablet and everything, I think he killed all of them.
Yeah,
didn't
he killed all 5 of them.
That's what I
He
think.
did.
That was
Oh,
my
you think he
impression.
killed all of them?
Yeah, they didn't show it, but he was supposed to have killed them.
So
all.
we
That's
only
what
saw him
he
kill
wanted
that
to do.
one woman, but you think, okay, thank you for clarifying that for me.
So I would.
I
think
said
I
that
don't
last.
know that they would have had her killed that fast.
I said that last. Yeah, if that was if that was Xavier's wife, absolutely not. That would have been dumb. That would
Yeah,
be
I didn't.
perfect.
All right, I didn't catch
She'd be
that.
alive, maybe. Would they have her be alive just to kill her before she ever gets to him? Probably not.
I mean, I didn't get that part. She is almost certainly alive, right? Like we believe she's probably alive.
Yeah.
If this goes a second season, that's maybe where it goes. I just don't see how they find her in 3 episodes. But yeah, they maybe solve this murder.
Yeah, I would agree. That sounds plausible.
Xavier might not even find out there's a possibility to go back up until the finale.
Oh, because he hasn't seen the tablet. He doesn't know
No.
about this.
Has
Presley hasn't as far as we know, hasn't
Well,
seen
because
the
she had
tablet.
no way to open it.
I'm sure Presley hasn't seen anything on the tablet.
No, she thinks she hasn't. It doesn't mean that somebody
How would
did.
she open it? If it's got, I mean, unless she used.
I'm just
president's
saying
father to open
we don't know if other people have a way to look at it. If maybe when crazy Uncle Joe McGraney when he saw her that night, did he show it to her? We don't know what
That's a
she
good
knows.
point.
Fair enough.
We don't know what she knows.
Well, our assumption is that she probably hasn't seen it.
I think it's very suspicious that she suddenly became attracted to this boy only after like his father. It's like the day after his father is killed when her friend's like, he's cute. And she's like, yeah, he is. Let me stalk him down in the music room.
Actually, no, she did not say yeah. She was like, I don't see the big deal.
I think you're right. Yes, AJ, you are correct.
I think she liked him, and I think the fact that his father just died connected her to him. I don't think there's necessarily more than that. Like, I don't feel like it's nefarious.
Well, like,
could it be? Yes, but
It could,
and like you said, it could be both. But
it's possible for both things to be true. I definitely think the fact that they both have a dead parent makes the connection.
He is, from a 15-year-old point of view, he is objectively dreamy, right? But no, I just don't think there's. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with any. I just don't think that her attraction and flirting with him is unrelated to her being at his father's house the night he was killed and having his tablet. I'm sorry. There's no way those two things are separate and correct. I think that if she's at a minimum, there's some element of guilt and weirdness involved in her pursuit of him. And she is pursuing him, right? More than he pursued her originally. And I just don't think there's any way that she's like, oh, your father's murdered. I have his tablet. Wow, you're really cute. Let's listen to music together. I just don't think those can be unrelated. And especially now I do think AJ, when one girl says he's cute, and the other one says, like she could be hiding her real feelings, sure. But I think that they've got to be related. I mean, it doesn't mean I don't think she really likes him. I don't think necessarily that she's working him. Like she's not Jane. She definitely likes this boy more and more. The more time she spends with him, the more she likes him. Like we saw them when they were sitting. Jamie's got that nice picture of the golf place where they were sitting. If I can find that picture. And she touches his hand for the first time.
Yeah, and they're about to kiss when Grandpa comes in.
Yeah, and it was really cute. I'm just not sure her initial interest was totally teenage.
Well, I'm sure
love.
As the story progresses, we'll find out for sure.
Okay. All right. I'll stop ranting about it. Thank you.
Wasn't ranting. We were discussing.
I know. I was getting a little more into it then. And you know how I hate teenage love in shows. So
yeah, you can't hate it more. You can't hate it more than Artie hates love triangles on Lost.
Really? Really?
Hilarious.
Oh my God!
One of the parts that I liked.
Oh my God, he hates it so much, and it's so funny to me thinking about all you women hating on Juliet.
He must hear, like, does he hate skate and
he hates the whole thing. He's like, what is the point? He's like, who gives a shit who likes who?
That's funny.
And you know what's funny? I said to him, I was like, that's because you are 18 years old, and you at this point in your life, you have never liked two people at the same time.
But just you wait.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right.
Getting so close to the end of Lost. Oh.
I'm so jealous. I'm gonna.
You know something funny? After all these years, so not earlier last week we watched Abaturno, and all three kids were like, that is the best episode ever.
What?
I was like, yes, it is.
That's terrible. I hate Abaturno.
You hate it? What? I have never heard anybody say that before.
Really?
That's the Richard episode.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
I don't
Richard in
remember
general.
my favorite,
Oh
but
my
I'm trying to remember exactly what episode it was. I don't think
When
I did.
Richard shows up on the island, his wife dies. He comes on the Black Rock.
Oh, the flashback one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't my favorite either. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't my favorite. No.
And we learned more about Jacob and the Man in Black. We get
Not
the
a
whole
fan.
pork reference.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I don't know.
You might be the first. You two might be the. How after all these years? How have I never known this? Like you two are like the only people
Jacob
I've
and Man
ever
in
heard that
Black's
love that
flashback.
episode.
I just don't remember loving the Richard stuff, but I don't know. It's been so long.
All right, let's focus. Predictions
Yeah,
for any predictions? What's going to happen? We got 3 episodes to go. I predict that Gerald McRaney dies before it's over.
I predict they find the killer.
They find the killer.
Yeah.
These two find the killer.
Yeah.
Yep. That these two have to work together, and they will
Yeah.
find the killer.
Yeah, that's obvious.
And we know that the killer is
We don't know anything.
I think somebody else is going to find out about the tablet. I kind of wondered if maybe she's going to give it to his son.
well, that's interesting. Why would she give it to Jeremy?
I don't know.
Why did she
And
have it in the
Bill-
first place?
I thought, yeah, why
He's
did she have
like,
it in the
I'm
place?
sorry, I was at your father's house when he was murdered, and I walked away with this. Let me let you know. I mean, if you really like the boy, that's a relationship killer.
Maybe, unless maybe she was scared to know what to do with it, and then she thinks it's safe with him. I don't know.
So she was about to give it to her dad, right? We think
Yeah.
when he came home. She didn't give it to Uncle Billy, so I wonder if Uncle Billy gave it to her.
Maybe.
I mean, she seemed to have, from what we saw last week, she had a lot of trust with Uncle Billy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he invited over to play Wii. Of course, she had trusted Uncle Billy.
I wonder if Billy was like, take this, don't let anyone have it.
Yeah.
If
It's
anything happens to
possible. It's
you know,
very possible.
how it came into her possession. I mean, it could be that she stumbles in, Cal's dying, and Cal's like, take this. You know, she
That's
just happened
possible too. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, there's the whole thing has opened up.
I would wonder though if that wasn't the case, she wouldn't have told her father though, or that her father wouldn't have found evidence that she was with him when he died.
Yeah, but we don't know. I mean, you gotta remember, this is a teenager.
Mm.
So
you can't put normal thought processes with a teenager, right?
True.
no,
True.
or TV. You know,
Like, well, they're always afraid they're going to get in trouble. Like, she's like, oh, I have the dead president's tablet, but holy crap, if my dad finds out I snuck out to play Wii, I'll be grounded.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's true.
really how they think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, she could have gotten it from a bunch of, like, she could be implicated. She could not be implicated. Actually, it's possible that, like, Gerald McRaney gave it to her somehow. I don't know. He remembers seeing her.
Why would he give it to her though? That
I don't know. All he knows is that he saw her. Like, I'm just saying, I don't know. Like,
no, I'm just saying I don't see a scenario he would have given it to her.
I agree with you, but he's not crossed off the
Anything's
list.
possible at this point.
Right.
So the only person I think Jeremy's crossed off the list, right? He didn't give it to her. And I think all these dead people didn't give it to her.
Right. But they're not, Xavier is
No,
dead.
no, either of the dead people could have given it
Actually,
to her.
they could have. You're right. Both of those dead people, Cal and Billy, both could have given it to her.
Yes. Although I don't think Xavier did. Although Xavier's not dead.
No, it wasn't. Definitely wasn't Xavier.
Because the only people we know were in the house were Cal, Billy Pace, Jane was in the house.
Well, I don't think Jane would have a reason to give it to her.
And Grandpa Bradford was in the house. And Robinson, but I don't think it's Robinson.
Robinson had left by that point.
Yeah, I mean, she left. She was out of the room, right? The thing is, there's no one on. It had to happen during the time that Billy looped the video to be playing Wii.
Yeah.
Right? It happened in those 30 minutes when the video was looping. So it can only really be Billy, Jane, the president, and his father, probably.
Where's she
Well,
going
those are the
to
people. Well, hold on.
Or-
Those are the
or
people
herself.
that we know were in the house. We don't know who came in that we didn't see.
Well, yeah, that wasn't caught on video. That came in during those 30 minutes, right? What you're saying, yeah. I'm kind of really intrigued by this mystery, and it kind of surprises me because I'm not sure this is the show that I thought I was watching when I jumped in on it. And every week there's a great twist. It surprises me actually that I like the show as much as I do.
Well, that's a good thing.
I just didn't expect that it was going to be drawing me in as much as it has.
I told you it was good.
Well, did you watch the whole thing before you said that? No,
No, I had watched a few of them when I told you that.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
I had gotten a few of them, and I said, "Watch this, you'll like it."
Well, and I guess
No,
maybe I was expecting that you were. I was expecting maybe that you were suggesting a more science fiction-y, paranormal-y kind of thing, because
Yeah.
that's mostly what we cover, right? And this is
Yeah.
this show is like 80, 90.
It's like end of the world-ish, but it's not really sci.
This show is like, I feel like it's 90% political thriller right now, and maybe
Yeah.
10%. I don't actually even really care right now why the surface is unlivable. It's not even really like a factor right now. I really just want to know about this mystery, which you have mentioned when you promoted this show to us, that the mystery was really good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I like the sci-fi elements too, but you're right, they're not the main part of the.
All right, so 3 more. And by the time these 3 are done, we might have some other shows back on the air, right? Because this has been a slow spring for us.
Yes.
I said something was coming soon, didn't I?
Well, we have Captain America soon coming once we've all seen it.
Well, Captain America
Oh.
came out last weekend. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the Wheel of Time is not back till like the 20th of
Wheel.
March.
Yes, that's what I said. Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I texted it.
The other one I told you guys. Well, see, I don't know. It's not. Again, it's not sci-fi, but like I told you, 9 Bodies in a Mexican Morgue is good, but it's mystery. It's not.
I don't even know. You've mentioned
But
it
you
a
should try
lot.
it out. You might like it. Yeah, because I liked it a lot. I thought it was good. The acting's good, and it's interesting. So
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else is coming out. Surface. That's kind of mystery.
All right. Well, in the meantime, we'll just be back, I guess, with some more Paradise next week. We do like it. We do like talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, Wheel of Time starts in 22 days.
Okay, cool.
So,
But yeah, please, if you're here and you haven't, please like and subscribe. Please join Discord for our, which I think I put in the chat. Yeah, for our.
Oh dear God! Sorry.
What?
I didn't even react. Also,
Dear God, is there a spider crawling on you? What?
No, worse.
What?
Season 2 of Andor starts in 62 days.
Oh.
60 days? Did you say 60 days?
62.
It said.
Well, that's not until April. All right.
Yeah,
No, I know. It's just I was scrolling through
I was like, what did I do?
my app of upcoming shows, and I saw Andor. And that's why I was like, oh my God.
I mean, I'm just going to point out to our listeners that there are actually parts of Andor that AJ and I liked. As much as we did not like that show, there are parts we like. And so we're going to talk about it.
I was going to say, were you guys going to watch it? Maybe I should start trying to watch season 1 if I have time. Is it worth it? It sounds like it's not worth it.
We didn't.
I don't think you're going to enjoy it for the same reason we do.
All right. Oh,
And yet there was some stuff that there were parts of it that we liked. So anyway, at any rate,
political stuff.
That's not for, we did. And Jamie, you don't like that, but it's not on for 2 months. So we'll figure it out.
Right.
In the meantime.
Yes. If you haven't, like, subscribe, join Discord. On Saturday, we have our Severance watch party, followed by at 10 this week, we have our Severance live stream here on the network. And then Sunday at 10:30, we might change the Sunday one, though. We're discussing the time. So do check social media for exact timing. But Sunday night is our Yellow Jacket show. And of course, the watch party beforehand. And we also will be playing the episode live when it drops I guess you'd say early Friday morning, late Thursday night. So yeah, because we did our first episode of Yellow Jackets, and we have another. I don't know if I even told you, Karen. We have another Severance interview that has been confirmed. However, it's not going to be live again. It's another pre-recorded one, and we're getting a Yellow Jackets interview too. So yeah, lots of fun. So actually, I take it back. There's 2 Severance interviews we're going to get. One of them is going to be live. One of them's not. But all that will be announced, and you can find more about it in the Discord and all that, and when we're looking for questions and that kind of thing. So yes.
All right, great.
All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you guys, and
thanks.
All right,
talk to you guys soon.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Right.
Thanks everybody. Good night.